My overall favorite play is going to be Patrick Mahomes over 2 passing touchdowns, guys. In this video, I'm going to go over the correlation strategy, how it is a profitable long-term strategy on PrizePicks, and so much more. Throughout this video, I'll be giving you guys some tips and tricks on exactly why this correlation strategy is so profitable, along with 5 other plays that are going to mesh very well here with Patrick Mahomes over 2 passing touchdowns. Now, in order to focus on the correlation strategy and really understand why it's so profitable long-term, you guys first must need to understand how PrizePicks payouts actually work. The hidden math behind PrizePicks payouts and slips for a 2-man, 3-man, 4-man, 5, 6-man, and then we'll go from there and compare these parlay odds, these single game parlay odds on PrizePicks directly to like a FanDuel single game parlay and DraftKings single game parlay. I promise you guys, once you actually sit down and learn throughout this entire video, you guys will actually understand, take away something to make sure that you guys are profitable long term and really understand the core concept of what I'm teaching here when you correlate, when you positively correlate plays together within the single game. On PrizePicks comparing to like a FanDuel, right? So let's go ahead and first focus on this Patrick Mahomes over 2 passing touchdowns. One thing you guys need to understand, regardless of the type of player combinations or even sport rather, you guys will see that PrizePicks does not alter the payout. Again, this is for like 90% of the player combos, meaning if I take Kenneth Gainwell over, if I take Patrick Mahomes over passing touchdowns, and I even take some NBA plays, let's go ahead and pop in a CS2 play here. Man, we'll take the under. And then we'll go over to NHL. Don't actually tail this slip. Throwing in random plays, obviously. But you guys will notice that the plays, the payouts never change based on the plays, right? So for a 6-man flex slip, I will always get 25x for going 6 out of 6. 5 out of 6, I'll get 2x. And then 4 out of 6, I'll get 0.4x my money back, right? And when we're single game parlaying all these player props together, what I'm going to be doing is focusing on this NFL matchup. You guys will notice that a majority of these combos, the payouts will never change. And I'm gonna tell you guys why this is just advantageous on the surface, right? If we talk logically through the game of the Eagles versus the Chiefs, think about what's gonna happen, right? Right now, there's a very close spread. I believe the Chiefs are favored by 2.5 points. So it's projected to go very back and forth. It's expected to be very close, right? So what type of game script paired with actual player prop projections actually go along with that game script? Let's start there, right? Let's say, you know, going back and forth, Patrick Mahomes is trying to keep it very close. He's obviously going to be very involved in the game. He's going to be relying on some of his star players, like maybe Isaiah Pacheco down in the red zone. Maybe he's relying on him in the passing game, right? We're going to be going over 69.5 rushing plus receiving yards. Maybe his star player, Travis Kelce, is going to be receiving a ton of receiving yards, right? Like logically that makes sense because if he's throwing passing touchdowns, obviously Travis Kelce is going to be catching a majority of those yards, maybe even a touchdown. Let's actually go to a touchdown prop. So here's a good one. Let's go ahead and pair the Kelce brothers over passing touchdowns. So positively correlating Patrick Mahomes over 2 passing touchdowns with Travis Kelce and his brother over touchdowns. This is a meme prop. It doesn't alter my payout. Like I'm literally able to enter this payout. The payouts never shift from a power play, a 3-man power play, right? I'm always going to get 5x because as you guys can see, if I switch this out with an NBA play and I take the over points, well, the payouts never change. But it's very obvious on the surface that if I actually take Patrick Mahomes over passing touchdowns with the combo touchdown prop, this is more advantageous because it's heavily positively correlated. If you guys don't know what correlation is, it's when you combine 2 individual player props within the same game that positively affect the outcome of the other players within that game. So just to walk through it again, Patrick Mahomes throwing more than 2 passing touchdowns is going to positively affect Travis Kelce, at least his probability to catch one of those receiving touchdowns. These 2 plays are positively correlated. This is also technically kind of positively correlated as well, right? But what if I take the game script that I'm expecting to happen tonight, the Eagles are keeping it close with Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs? Well, that means that also maybe their star quarterback is going to also have a really good game. And again, I'm just throwing out random props here. I actually haven't compared the board. So if Jalen Hurts is in the game and he's going to be keeping it close up to the very end, doesn't matter what side of the ball we're talking about at this point, Jalen Hurts is going to be very involved. He's going to be throwing the ball to probably one of his star receivers, right? Over 32.5 passing attempts, right? Again, I'm just throwing random player props out there, and we'll go with one of his star receivers, maybe Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. Sure, we'll take their overs. as you guys can see here, based on positively correlating plays, these payouts never change. What if this game goes out, it ends up being a blowout, right? Like, let's just hypothetically say that Patrick Mahomes goes out, dices him up, goes out for like, I don't know, an extreme amount of touchdowns, 5 touchdowns, Travis Kelce catches, I'm sure, but these guys just get blown out. These guys just suck, right? Now, when I start to take unders, the payouts actually do shift. So as you guys can see here, depending on the game script, they actually do shift based on some of the unders in NFL. What we're going to be doing today in this video is exploiting certain player prop combinations together based on the most likely game script, while showing you guys that the payouts are not being altered on PrizePicks, but are being altered when we compare to other sports books. And what we're going to be doing to find out that edge and find out the best props, the best correlated combos available on PrizePicks, and comparing directly to the market and finding those heaviest correlated combos and most profitable overall slips, is by utilizing a software called the DGFantasy correlation tool. What this does is exactly what I just explained. It finds the most profitable long-term correlated combos while also sifting through the market to find the best individual player props and then correlating those plays together to ensure that you're profitable long-term by just taking the recommended slips on the software. Let's reveal what I'm talking about here on the tool. The first overall play being recommended in this slip is actually going to be Patrick Mahomes over passing completions, over 26.5. The reason why this has already changed from the 5 minutes I started recording back to my original prop that I was taking over 2 passing touchdowns is simply because there's a greater edge on this passing completions prop, and it's also showing a greater overall plus EV edge. I'm going to show you guys here. By switching over to the DGFantasy Optimizer, this is actually just a line comparison tool where it literally just shows the edge on each individual player prop. As you guys can see here, if I highlight it, the passing completions prop is slightly being favored for the over. Comparing it directly to the market, all the sports books are favoring the over, and even Underdog has their projections set to 27. So what we're doing is presenting you guys with the best overall value on this passing completions line, while also taking into consideration the highest correlated combos. But if we switch down here to the passing TDs, either the line has shifted, the odds have shifted on the sportsbook market. Now it's only being recommended to hit the over of 50.2%, but his passing completions prop is being recommended over 51.07% by comparing to the sportsbook market. So we're showing you the best edge based on the individual player props and the heaviest correlated values. And that's the problem that the DGFantasy correlation tool software solves for you guys. So over 26.5 passing completions. And again, this changes because what it's doing is it's consistently scanning the market looking for these individual player props, the individual plus EV edge. It literally might have already been bumped by the time I post this video. But right now, it looks like it's still there. Passing completions over 26.5 is heavily correlated with the game script that these guys remain close. Jalen Hurts over 231.5 passing yards. That makes sense, right? And now we are recommending the under of Townsend 3.5 points, because if these guys are going up and down the field, remaining competitive, then there's going to be lesser amount of punts, right? And that makes sense. The over passing yards and over passing completions is positively correlated with the under of punter props, right? So that makes sense. And then Devontae Smith over receiving yards is obviously super heavy correlated with the Jalen Hurts over prop. So Devontae Smith over 57.5, Marquez Valdes-Scantling over receiving yards, and then Travis Kelce over receiving yards. This slip is super heavily correlated and profitable when we compare it directly to the market. And the correlation tool is showing you the best correlated combo slip that you can have at any given point in time. This could change in a matter of minutes, could change in an hour, could change leading up to lock. We know that the injury news, we know that news in general, the market is consistently changing based on weather, and the correlation tool is consistently scanning through the market, right? That's how this tool works. But now to prove to you guys how profitable this slip is by simply playing this on PrizePicks, comparing it directly to, let's say, a FanDuel single game parlay, right? And we're going to directly compare odds. So let's try to take exactly what's recommended on the tool here and now compare it over to FanDuel. I have FanDuel's odds pulled up here. So let's start out with Patrick Mahomes over passing completions. Well, that prop exists, but let's try just comparing and combining over passing completions with any other player prop. FanDuel actually doesn't allow you. I'll move my big head here. It says some of your selections can't be combined into a single parlay. That is because this presents such a mathematical edge. It's so heavily correlated that they simply don't allow you to place that type of combo in a single game parlay, which is yet another reason why this is so much more advantageous on PrizePicks, which is freaking insane. So just because I want to show you guys, let's just throw in his over receiving or his over passing yards instead of his passing completions. So we'll go ahead and throw in over Patrick Mahomes passing yards, and then Jalen Hurts over 233.5 passing yards. By the way, the softer prop is on PrizePicks by 2 yards. Again, this is where the correlation tool comes into play. Oh, and by the way, punter props aren't even offered on FanDuel single game parlays because they are so heavily correlated again with all of these other player props within the same game. So we'll have to just go ahead and throw in another receiving prop, I guess. Let's throw in Rice, and we'll throw in Devonta Smith over receiving yards. I know those exist. And by the way, you get a 3-yard discount on the correlation tool on PrizePicks because, as you can see here, 3 yards discounted, which is why we're recommending it. Scantling, by the way, getting a 1-yard discount. And then last but not least, we have Travis Kelce himself, another 1-yard discount. Now, you're getting this at, let's call it plus 2,000 odds, right? You put in the $100, you get $2,000 back. But on PrizePicks, if you put in the $100, you get $2,500 back. And that's not even taking into consideration the insurance. So you get an insured bet on PrizePicks. You get overall better odds if this sweeps, and you get additional better overall player props on PrizePicks with a heavier correlated edge, talking about the punting prop and the overpassing completions, guys. Hopefully that makes sense. This is a freaking crazy edge that you guys should be exploiting. All of the tool links will be provided in the description below if you guys have any interest. Also, feel free to DM me on Twitter if you guys have any additional questions. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please do hit that subscription button, notification bell, and of course, smash that like button for all of our future NFL content. With all that being said, have a great rest of your day, and let's cash.